Commander Lisa Reeves stood at the observation deck of Earth Station Alpha, her eyes fixed on the massive alien ship that had appeared in Earth's orbit 12 hours ago. It was unlike anything humans had ever built, sleek, dark, and at least 5 times the size of their largest space vessel. "Commander, they're requesting to dock," said the communications officer behind her. Lisa nodded. "Grant permission and notify Admiral Daniels." The first contact with the Valkyrie had sent waves of both excitement and fear throughout Earth. After decades of searching the stars for other intelligent life, the aliens had found them instead. 6 hours later, Lisa stood beside Admiral Frank Daniels as the Valkyrie delegation walked down the docking ramp. The aliens were tall, with bluish skin and 4 arms. Their leader, who introduced himself as High Commander Zexthor, looked down at the humans with eyes that seemed to calculate everything. "We greet you, people of Earth," said Zexthor through a translation device. His voice was smooth but held no warmth. "The Valkyrie Empire spans hundreds of star systems. We have come to offer you our protection." Admiral Daniels stepped forward. "We appreciate your offer, High Commander, but Earth is an independent world." The alien's mouth curved in what might have been a smile. "Of course. For now, we simply wish to establish diplomatic relations." Lisa noticed how the aliens looked at the station's technology. Their expressions were easy to read even on alien faces. They were not impressed. Later, in the conference room, Lisa watched as Zexthor showed holographic images of Valkyrie cities and ships. Their technology was centuries ahead of Earth's. "Your species has potential," said Zexthor. "But the galaxy is dangerous. Many civilizations would see your resources as ripe for taking. The Valkyrie can offer protection." "At what cost?" asked Lisa. Zexthor turned his 4 eyes to her. "Merely access to some of your natural resources and your acceptance of Valkyrie guidance in your development. A small price for security." After the meeting, Lisa and Admiral Daniels walked through a restricted corridor. "They think we're children," Lisa said. "Did you see how they looked at our technology?" Admiral Daniels nodded. "They've been watching us for months. They believe we're no threat to them." "Are they right?" Lisa asked. Instead of answering, Admiral Daniels led her to a secured elevator that required both retinal and voice confirmation. The elevator descended deep below the station. "What I'm about to show you is known only to 20 people on Earth," said Daniels as the doors opened. Lisa gasped at what she saw. A massive chamber housed what appeared to be a warship unlike any in Earth's fleet. Its design was sleek, with technology that didn't match the rest of their ships. "Project Sentinel," explained Daniels. "We've been developing it in secret for 15 years, ever since we discovered certain anomalies in the Kuiper Belt." "You knew aliens were coming?" Lisa asked, walking around the ship. "We suspected we weren't alone. This ship incorporates technology we reverse-engineered from a small crashed vessel we found. It's not as advanced as what the Valkyrie have shown us, but it's closer than they would suspect." Lisa touched the hull of the ship. "How many do we have?" 6 completed, 14 more in various stages, plus new weapon systems that we've kept off the books." A scientist approached them. "Dr. Alan Morris, Commander," he said, extending his hand. "I lead the Sentinel project. The Valkyrie want an answer in 2 days." Admiral Daniels said, "They expect us to accept their protection and essentially become their servants." "And if we refuse?" Lisa asked. Dr. Morris activated a screen showing images of a distant planet with massive impact craters. This was taken by our deep space probes. It was a civilization that apparently said no. Lisa looked back at the ship. "So what's our plan?" Admiral Daniels handed her a datapad. "As of this moment, you're being reassigned. The Valkyrie think we're weak, primitive, and predictable. That's the only advantage we have." Lisa looked at her new orders and then up at the ship. She understood now. The Valkyrie had no idea what humans were truly capable of when backed into a corner. They would learn soon enough. "When do I start?" she asked. "Now," said Admiral Daniels. Because in 48 hours, everything changes. The U.S. Defiant hung in the darkness of space, its experimental hull absorbing rather than reflecting light. Commander Lisa Reeves floated through its main bridge, studying the controls that were unlike any she had used before. "Getting used to her?" asked a voice behind her. Lisa turned to see Steve Harrington, the veteran pilot assigned to the Defiant. His face showed the marks of someone who had spent too many years in space, but his eyes were sharp and alert. "She's different," Lisa replied. "But I like different." Steve ran his hand along a control panel. "The Valkyrie won't expect different. That's our edge." 3 weeks had passed since the aliens delivered their ultimatum. Earth's official response had been diplomatic but non-committal. The delay had bought them precious time to prepare. On the main screen, a transmission showed Valkyrie ships positioning themselves around Earth's Mars colony. Their message was clear without words. They were growing impatient. "They're setting up mining operations near Olympus Mons," Steve said, pointing to movement on the screen. "Without asking permission." Lisa nodded. "They don't think they need permission." The ship's communication system activated. Dr. Alan Morris appeared on screen, his lab coat wrinkled from what was likely days without rest. "Commander, we've made progress understanding their shield technology," he said, excitement clear in his voice. "My assistant Olivia Barnes noticed a pattern in the energy signatures. Their shields have a pulse, a microsecond when they're vulnerable." "Can we exploit it?" Lisa asked. "Theoretically. We're modifying weapons now to synchronize with that pulse." The transmission ended as the ship's alarm sounded. Lisa and Steve moved quickly to their stations as the tactical officer reported. Situation at Mars colony. Valkyrie forces attempting to access the main habitat. Admiral Daniels appeared on screen. "Commander Reeves, observe only. We're not ready to reveal our capabilities." Lisa clenched her jaw but acknowledged the order. On the screen, they watched as Mars colonists blocked Valkyrie access to a mining site. The aliens responded by using energy weapons to cut through the habitat's outer doors. "They could kill everyone in that sector," Steve muttered. Before the situation escalated further, Earth's conventional defense ships arrived. The Valkyrie withdrew, but their message was delivered. They would take what they wanted. Later that day, Lisa was called to a secure meeting on Luna Base. There, in a massive underground hangar, she saw what Admiral Daniels had only hinted at before. 5 ships similar to the Defiant, each with slight variations in design. "Our hidden fleet," Admiral Daniels said as they walked between the ships. "Not as numerous or powerful as theirs. But they don't know these exist." He led her to a group of pilots standing nearby. "These are your squadron leaders. The best we have." Lisa met each pilot, memorizing their faces and backgrounds. They were an unusual mix. Some military, some civilian test pilots, all chosen for their unconventional thinking. "The Valkyrie rely on logic and patterns," Admiral Daniels explained. "We need pilots who don't." At the end of the day, Lisa returned to the Defiant where she found Steve running combat simulations with the crew. The results on his screen showed continuous failures against simulated Valkyrie tactics. "Problem?" she asked. Steve shook his head. "Just learning how they think. How they expect us to think." He pulled up a different simulation, this one showing erratic flight patterns that made no tactical sense. "What's this?" Lisa asked. "What we're going to do instead," Steve replied with a smile. "They expect us to fight like soldiers. We'll fight like bar brawlers." Back on Earth, Dr. Morris and Olivia worked through the night on their shield-penetrating technology. When a test finally succeeded, Olivia jumped up in excitement. "We did it," she exclaimed, hugging Dr. Morris before quickly stepping back in embarrassment. Dr. Morris looked at the results. "Now we need to get this to the fleet." On the Valkyrie command ship, High Commander Zexthor reviewed the Mars incident. "The humans resist our reasonable requests," he said to his officers. "Perhaps they need a demonstration of consequences." He pointed to the Neptune outpost on his star chart. A small target, far from Earth. A perfect lesson with minimal effort. What Sexthor didn't know was that Lisa and the Defiant had just been assigned to Neptune as their first deployment. The Neptune outpost floated in the cold darkness, a small human foothold in the outer solar system. Inside the command center, the station chief looked worried as he showed Lisa the defense systems. "We have basic shields and a few weapon turrets," he explained. "Nothing that would stop a serious attack." Lisa nodded as she walked around the room. "The Valkyrie don't know about the Defiant. We'll use that surprise to our advantage." The Defiant was currently hidden behind one of Neptune's moons, its systems running silent. Steve had positioned the ship perfectly, invisible to Valkyrie sensors, but able to respond quickly. Lisa's communication device buzzed. Dr. Morris appeared on the small screen, looking tired but excited. "Commander, we've finished the shield disruptors," he said. "They're being loaded onto transport ships now. They should reach you in 18 hours. "Will they work?" Lisa asked. "Olivia has run over 200 simulations. They'll work, but only for a few seconds per burst. You'll need to time your attacks perfectly." Before Lisa could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. The tactical officer's voice came over the speakers. "3 Valkyrie warships just appeared at the edge of our sensor range. They're heading straight for us." Lisa ran to the command center. "How long until they reach us?" 20 minutes at their current speed." Lisa looked at the clock. The shield disruptors wouldn't arrive in time. She activated her secure channel to Admiral Daniels. "Sir, Valkyrie ships approaching Neptune. Request permission to engage with the Defiant." Admiral Daniels frowned on the screen. "Without the shield disruptors, you'll be at a severe disadvantage." "We have something else," Lisa said. "A strategy the Valkyrie won't expect." After a moment of silence, Admiral Daniels nodded. "Approved. Show them what you've got, Commander." Lisa quickly contacted Steve on the Defiant. "Prepare to engage. We're going with Plan Delta." Steve's face broke into a grin. "The crazy one. I was hoping you'd say that." On the main Valkyrie warship, High Commander Sexthor watched Neptune grow larger on the view screen. "A simple demonstration," he told his officers. "Disable their communications first, then their life support. Give them 10 minutes to surrender before we destroy the station." His second-in-command nodded. "The humans will learn quickly that resistance is pointless." As the Valkyrie ships approached Neptune, their sensors detected no unusual activity. The human outpost was broadcasting desperate messages to Earth, but otherwise seemed defenseless. "Pathetic," Sexthor said. "They don't even have proper warships out here." Just as the Valkyrie ships came within firing range of the station, their sensors suddenly detected movement from behind Neptune's largest moon. "Sir, a human vessel is approaching," reported the sensor officer, sounding confused. "But it's not following any standard approach vector." On the Defiant, Lisa watched as Steve piloted the ship in wild, unpredictable patterns. The training they'd done over the past weeks had seemed insane to most of the crew, but now they understood. "Activate the jamming fields," Lisa ordered. Immediately, the Defiant began broadcasting signals across multiple frequencies, creating electronic noise that confused the Valkyrie targeting systems. "They won't be able to get a clean lock on us," explained the communications officer. Lisa nodded. Now for the real surprise. Deploy the drones. From the Defiant's launch bays, dozens of small, unmanned crafts shot out in all directions. Each drone was essentially a rocket with minimal steering capabilities, but together they created a chaotic web around the Valkyrie ships. On his warship, Sexthor watched in confusion as his tactical display became cluttered with small objects. "What is this?" he demanded. "Their technology shouldn't be capable of this." His weapons officer struggled to target the rapidly moving Defiant. "Their ship is moving in patterns that make no logical sense, Commander. It's as if they're deliberately flying erratically." Sexthor's 4 eyes narrowed. "Impossible. No military vessel would use such wasteful, inefficient movements." But as the drones began to detonate around his ships, creating clouds of debris and sensor interference, Zexthor realized that the humans had developed tactics his people had never considered. For the first time, a flicker of doubt crossed his mind about how easy this conquest would be. The space around Neptune lit up with weapon fire as the Valkyrie ships tried to target the Defiant. Lisa held tight to her command chair as the ship spun and dove in ways that tested the limits of its artificial gravity. Chaos protocol in full effect, Steve announced from the pilot station, his hands moving quickly across the controls. They still can't predict our movements. Lisa watched the tactical display. The Valkyrie ships maintained perfect formation, their movements precise and logical. That was their weakness. Status of the drones, she asked. 30% depleted, reported the tactical officer. They're drawing fire, but the Valkyrie are adapting. Lisa nodded. As expected, the Valkyrie were learning. It was time for the next phase. Activate communication with the other ships, Lisa ordered. Suddenly, from behind 3 different moons of Neptune, 3 more ships appeared. They were older Earth vessels, not as advanced as the Defiant, but they had been modified with the same stealth technology. "This is Commander Gary Phillips of the Reliant, ready to join the party," came a voice over the comm. "Commander Susan Lee of the Intrepid, reporting in," followed another. "Commander Ben Wright of the Daedalus, awaiting orders," came the third. Lisa smiled. The backup had arrived earlier than expected. "Deploy Formation Beta. Target their lead ship." On the main Valkyrie warship, Zexthor stared at the display in disbelief as 3 more human ships appeared. "How did we not detect them?" he demanded. "Unknown, High Commander," replied his sensor officer. "They seem to be using some kind of absorption technology that hid them from our scans." Zexthor watched as the human ships began moving in what appeared to be random directions, but somehow they were coordinating their attacks. "Their tactics make no sense," he muttered. "There is no logic to their movements." His weapons officer looked frustrated. "They're moving unpredictably. Our targeting computers cannot establish reliable patterns." For the first time in his long military career, Zexthor faced an enemy that didn't follow the established rules of space combat. On the Defiant, Lisa received an urgent message from Earth. "Shield disruptors are on their way," Admiral Daniels informed her. "Dr. Morris found a way to get them to you faster. Expect delivery in 30 minutes. "We might not have 30 minutes, Lisa replied, as the ship shook from a near miss. "Hold them off, Commander. This is our chance to show the Valkyrie what humans can do." The battle intensified. One of the Valkyrie ships managed to score a hit on the Intrepid, damaging its engines. But instead of retreating, the damaged ship spun directly toward the Valkyrie vessel, firing all weapons. "What is Commander Lee doing?" Steve asked, watching the Intrepid's suicidal charge. Lisa understood immediately. "Creating a distraction. All ships, focus fire on the lead Valkyrie warship." The human ships coordinated their attack, each approaching from a different angle. The Valkyrie defenses couldn't track them all. Just then, a small, fast transport ship emerged from faster-than-light travel near the Defiant. "Shield disruptors delivered," came Olivia's voice over the comm. "Dr. Morris sent me to help install them." "Bring them aboard," Lisa ordered. "We need them now." 20 minutes later, the disruptors were installed on the Defiant's main weapons. "The timing has to be perfect," Olivia explained. "Fire exactly when I give the signal." As the Defiant approached the main Valkyrie warship again, Lisa watched Olivia monitoring the enemy shield frequencies. Almost. "Now," Olivia shouted. The Defiant fired. For a brief moment, the Valkyrie shields flickered and failed. The shot penetrated directly to their weapons array, causing a massive explosion on the side of the alien ship. On his damaged bridge, Zexthor could not believe what he was seeing. His flagship, one of the most advanced warships in the Valkyrie fleet, had been wounded by humans. "Impossible," he whispered as warning alarms blared around him. The other human ships were now equipped with the shield disruptors as well. One by one, They penetrated the Valkyrie defenses. High Commander, his second-in-command urged, "We must retreat and reassess." Zexthor wanted to refuse, but the evidence was clear. These humans were not the primitive, predictable species they had believed. "Signal the retreat," he ordered finally. "We have much to report to the Council." As the Valkyrie ships withdrew, cheers erupted across all human vessels. Against all odds, they had won the first battle. News of the Neptune victory spread quickly through the human colonies. People who had lived in fear since the Valkyrie arrival now spoke with hope in their voices. Commander Lisa Reeves became an overnight hero, though she felt uncomfortable with the attention. "We got lucky," she told Steve as they reviewed damage reports aboard the Defiant. "The Valkyrie will come back stronger next time." Steve shook his head. It wasn't luck. It was good planning and better execution. A call came through from Admiral Daniels. His face on the screen looked both pleased and concerned. "Congratulations, Commander. As of this moment, you're promoted to Captain. You'll be commanding our new defense fleet." Lisa sat up straighter. "Thank you, sir. What's our next move?" "The Valkyrie have pulled back to regroup. Our intelligence suggests they're having some internal disagreements about how to proceed." On the Valkyrie Council ship, High Commander Zexthor faced harsh questions from his superiors. "You said these humans were primitive," said the lead counselor, her 4 eyes narrowed in disapproval. "Yet they damaged 3 of our warships and forced a retreat." Zexthor bowed his head. "They used tactics we did not anticipate. They do not fight according to any logical pattern. They fight like children throwing stones," said one counselor dismissively. "Children who managed to breach our shields," countered another voice. Sub-Commander Nixala stepped forward. Unlike most Valkyrie, she had spent time studying human culture rather than just their technology. "The humans value something we do not," she explained. "Individuality. Each of their ships acted independently yet somehow worked together. It makes their movements impossible to predict." The lead counselor considered this. "What do you suggest, Sub-Commander?" "We should recognize them as worthy adversaries. Perhaps open genuine negotiations rather than demanding submission." Zexthor bristled at this suggestion. "One small victory does not make them our equals. We must respond with overwhelming force to teach them their place." Back on Earth, Dr. Morris and Olivia worked to improve the shield disruptor technology. They had set up a laboratory on a secure base where they could test their ideas quickly. "If we can extend the disruption window from 2 seconds to 5, it would make a huge difference," Olivia said, making adjustments to the device in front of her. Dr. Morris nodded. "The Valkyrie will be modifying their shields. We need to stay ahead of them." A messenger arrived with news for them. "Captain Reeves is returning to Earth with the fleet. Admiral Daniels wants your team to equip all ships with the latest version of the disruptors." Olivia looked up from her work. "How much time do we have?" "Intelligence suggests the Valkyrie are preparing a major offensive. 2 weeks at most." In space, Lisa's fleet made its way back to Earth. The damaged ships needed repairs, and all vessels required upgrades based on what they had learned during the battle. "The word from the colonies is that people are starting to fight back," Steve told Lisa as they stood on the bridge. "Small resistance groups are disrupting Valkyrie mining operations." Lisa frowned. "That could provoke them before we're ready. Or it could spread their forces thin," Steve countered. "Make them fight on multiple fronts." When they arrived at Earth, Lisa was surprised to find herself called to a global military council. Leaders from all major nations had gathered to hear her assessment of the Valkyrie threat. "They underestimated us once," she told the assembled leaders. "They won't make that mistake again. But neither should we underestimate ourselves." She outlined her plan for Earth's defense, explaining how conventional military thinking would not work against the Valkyrie. "We need to be unpredictable. Use strategies they cannot calculate. Our greatest strength is that they think they know us, but they don't understand how humans think." As the meeting concluded, Admiral Daniels pulled Lisa aside. "Our deep space sensors have detected Valkyrie reinforcements arriving. Their fleet is growing. They're preparing for something big. Lisa nodded. So are we. Across Earth, factories worked around the clock producing components for the shield disruptors. Shipyards retrofitted every vessel that could fly with weapons and defenses. For the first time since the Valkyrie arrived, humanity was united with a single purpose. The Valkyrie had thought humanity was weak. The battle at Neptune had changed that perception. But the real test was still to come. The day the Valkyrie launched their grand offensive, Earth's skies filled with clouds despite there being no rain in the forecast. These were not natural formations, but dust and debris from orbital combat, as the first line of human defenses engaged the invaders. Captain Lisa Reeves stood on the bridge of the Defiant, which now led a fleet of 30 ships. Some were newly built, others retrofitted. All carried the improved shield disruptors that Dr. Morris and Olivia had worked day and night to perfect. Valkyrie fleet has broken through the outer defense perimeter, reported the communications officer. They'd brought 3 times the ships we faced at Neptune. Lisa nodded calmly. Deploy the swarm drones. All ships initiate Chaos Protocol Alpha. Across the human fleet, pilots like Steve Harrington began flying in patterns that defied conventional tactics. The Valkyrie, despite having studied the Neptune battle, still struggled to predict where the human ships would move next. They still don't get it, Steve said over the comm. They're looking for patterns that don't exist. From Earth's surface, thousands of small unmanned craft launched upward. These simple drones carried no weapons but were equipped with signal jammers and small shield disruptors. They swarmed around the Valkyrie ships like angry bees. On the Valkyrie command ship, High Commander Zex Thor watched with growing frustration. Target their lead vessel, he ordered. Focus all fire on the Defiant. His weapons officer hesitated. Sir, we can't get a clean lock. Their movement is too erratic, and these small craft are interfering with our targeting systems. Sub-Commander Nixala, who had been assigned to Zex Thor's ship to provide insight into human behavior, spoke up. Their strategy deliberately creates chaos, she explained. Our systems are designed to find order and patterns. They are exploiting that. Zex Thor growled in frustration. Then we will use the planet killer. Prepare the main cannon. Nixala's eyes widened. High Commander, the Council did not authorize. I am authorizing it, Zex Thor interrupted. These humans need to learn the price of defiance. Back on the Defiant, Lisa received an urgent message from Earth's sensor array. Captain, the Valkyrie flagship is powering up a weapon unlike anything we've seen before. Energy readings are off the charts. Lisa turned to her tactical officer. How long until they can fire? Based on the power buildup, approximately 8 minutes. Lisa made a quick decision. Steve, prepare a strike team. We're going to attempt a boarding operation. Steve looked surprised but quickly nodded. Yes, Captain. While the main battle continued around Earth's orbit, Steve led a small team of ships directly toward the Valkyrie flagship. They were small, fast craft, each carrying just 2 people, a pilot and a soldier. This is insane, one pilot muttered over the comm. That's why it will work, Steve replied. They won't expect us to fly directly at their biggest weapon. As the Valkyrie focused on charging their planet killer weapon, the small human craft slipped through gaps in their defenses. Using the shield disruptors at close range, they created openings just large enough to attach to the hull of the flagship. Inside the Defiant, Lisa monitored the boarding team's progress while coordinating the main fleet's defense. Steve's team has breached the outer hull, reported the communications officer. Lisa nodded. Tell Dr. Morris to activate Operation Firewall. From a secret facility on Earth's moon, Dr. Morris and Olivia initiated a sequence they had prepared for this moment. Satellites around Earth began broadcasting on frequencies matched to the Valkyrie ship systems, sending carefully designed data packets. What exactly will this do? Asked Olivia as she monitored the transmission. It's like a computer virus, Dr. Morris explained. But instead of damaging their systems, it creates feedback loops in their predictive algorithms. The more they try to target us, the more confused their systems become. On the Valkyrie flagship, alarms blared as Steve's team fought their way toward the main weapon control room. They were outnumbered, but the Valkyrie soldiers were confused by the seemingly suicidal humans who fought with no regard for conventional tactics. Meanwhile, the ship's systems began behaving erratically as Operation Firewall took effect. "High Commander," reported a Valkyrie officer, "our targeting systems are malfunctioning. The weapon cannot lock onto the planet." Zexthor slammed his four fists down in rage. "How are they doing this? They are primitive. They cannot possibly understand our technology." Sub-Commander Nixella looked at the sensor readings and then at Zexthor. "I believe," she said quietly, "that we have severely misjudged these humans." Steve and his team reached the main weapon control room on the Valkyrie flagship. They faced heavy resistance, but the confusion caused by Operation Firewall gave them an advantage. Valkyrie soldiers struggled with malfunctioning equipment and conflicting orders. "Plant the disruptors," Steve ordered his team. "We only need to disable the weapon for 5 minutes." As they worked, Steve contacted the Defiant. "Captain, we're in position. The planet killer is almost fully charged." Lisa's voice came through his earpiece. "Good work. Hold as long as you can. The fleet is moving into final position." Outside in space, the battle had reached its peak. Human ships darted between the massive Valkyrie vessels, their unpredictable movements making them difficult targets. The improved shield disruptors were working better than expected, creating gaps in Valkyrie defenses that allowed even smaller human weapons to cause damage. On the Defiant, Lisa watched as the tactical display showed the positions of all ships. The Valkyrie still maintained tight formations, their military discipline holding despite the chaos around them. "All ships, execute Formation Omega," Lisa commanded. "Target the flagship's weapon array." Across the human fleet, captains acknowledged the order. Their ships, which had been flying in random patterns, suddenly converged from all directions toward the Valkyrie flagship. High Commander Zexthor watched in growing alarm as the human vessels changed their approach. "They're concentrating their attack," he said. "Protect the main weapon." But the Valkyrie ships were out of position, scattered across too wide an area to respond quickly. As they tried to regroup, the human vessels slipped through the gaps in their formation. In the weapon control room, Steve and his team completed their work just as Valkyrie reinforcements arrived. "Fall back," Steve shouted as enemy fire intensified around them. As they retreated, the disruptors they had planted activated, sending pulses of energy into the planet killer's systems. Across the flagship, lights flickered and control panels sparked. Zexthor received urgent reports from all sections of his ship. "The main weapon is overloading. Power systems are failing." Sub-Commander Nixola looked at the damage reports. "High Commander, we cannot win this battle. Not today." Zexthor wanted to argue, but the evidence was clear. His mighty fleet, which had conquered dozens of worlds, was being beaten by a species they had dismissed as primitive. "Signal the retreat," he ordered finally. "All ships, withdraw from Earth orbit." As the Valkyrie ships began to pull back, cheers erupted across the human fleet. Steve and his team managed to reach their small craft and detach from the flagship just before it jumped to faster-than-light travel. 3 days later, Lisa stood in a grand hall on Earth, where representatives from all nations had gathered. Admiral Daniels placed a medal around her neck. "For exceptional bravery and leadership," he announced, "Captain Lisa Reeves has shown the galaxy what humanity is capable of." Similar honors were bestowed upon Steve, Dr. Morris, Olivia, and dozens of others who had played key roles in the victory. As the ceremony concluded, a message arrived from deep space. It was from the Valkyrie Council. "They're requesting a ceasefire," Admiral Daniels told Lisa privately. "And they want to begin new diplomatic talks. As equals this time." Lisa looked surprised. "Do we trust them?" "Partially. Their lead diplomat will be Sub-Commander Nixella. Intelligence suggests she advocated for respecting humanity from the beginning." 1 month later, Lisa stood in the same hall as Valkyrie delegates arrived. High Commander Zexthor was notably absent, but Sub-Commander Nixella led the delegation. "We misjudged your people," Nixella said as she greeted Lisa. "The Valkyrie value strength and intelligence. You have proven you possess both." "We never wanted conflict," Lisa replied. "We just wanted to be treated with respect." Nixella nodded. "That respect has been earned." "There is something else we discovered about humans that we find intriguing." "Compassion," Nixella said. "Your boarding teams could have destroyed our flagship completely, yet they chose only to disable our weapon. They avoided unnecessary casualties." She looked at Lisa with her 4 eyes, genuine curiosity in them. "In our culture, mercy is rarely shown in battle, yet you humans seem to value it greatly." Lisa smiled. "Perhaps that's something we can teach each other about." As they walked together toward the treaty room, Lisa looked out at the stars visible through the large windows. The Valkyrie had thought humanity was weak until that first battle changed everything. But the real victory wasn't just in proving their strength. It was in showing that humans could be both strong and compassionate, a combination the galaxy had rarely seen before.